Okay, this is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com. If you're watching this video here on YouTube, I suggest you click the link below in the description. It'll take you to the blog post. There's a series of videos talking about deer jumping the string, what you can and can't do, surprisingly things that you may actually learn from a couple of the videos. And so this video here, I'm going to talk about basically we've looked at the other videos and found that there's not a entirely whole lot you can do to completely take out the sound. Some things that I'm going to go over here is some things that help you to silence your bow. Obviously, you know, the higher end bow you have, you know, of course the quieter it's going to be, but that's not always. You can, main thing, go on your bow, check anything that has any rattles in it, get them off, tighten them up, do whatever you need to do. You can put some string dampeners on there. They're going to slow the bow down a little, just maybe a few feet a second. But as you know, that's not going to make a huge difference there. It's probably actually going to help with the arrow sound, as you've seen in the video, the first video. It's probably going to damper that arrow sound down a little bit. You know, the arrow to me was louder than the actual bow in some of the video. When I shot them, especially the closer ranges out to about 40 yards, it was, to me, 40, 50 yards was definitely, to me, sounded like the arrow was louder than the bow. I could hardly hear the bow over the arrow actually coming to it. So slowing, you know, the couple mile an hour you lose may actually quieten that arrow down a little bit, because it's not going to be catching the wind as bad and as hard. I'll tell you one thing you can do about quieting the arrow down. It's going to quieten down a little bit, and that's use a little bit stiffer arrow than what is recommended for your bow. You don't want to go lighter, because then you have the chance of the arrow breaking as you you know, shoot it. But you could go an arrow that's rated for a little bit higher poundage bow than your bow. That's going to help the arrow come out of the bow a little bit stiffer. And I'll tell you another thing it's going to help with, and that's on the point of impact. When the arrow actually impacts on an arrow, especially a really limber arrow, bends a lot as it makes impact. The stiffer the arrow is, the more straighter it is, and the more foot-pounds is put through the arrow is going to help you get deeper penetration. So that there is going to help with that there. And the other thing you can really do is be prepared for how the deer is going to act. That is probably the number one thing that you can prepare yourself for. And that is what kind of mood the deer is in. And I'm going to probably put one more video in this blog post to cover that more, but I'm going to talk about it just briefly right here a little bit, because I think that's probably the number one thing you can do. A relaxed deer, as you see them, the speeds of that bow, especially a faster bow, a pretty well quiet bow, is not going to have time to react to the arrow if it's relaxed. You know, if a deer is sitting there eating, or if it's taking a drink. Now, if a deer is alert, or you went mad, or spooked, or it's running, that deer's going to react more, and your shot placement needs to be a little different. That's why I'm going to make the other video, and I'm going to talk about that. So like I said, if you're watching this video here, click on the link below in the description. It'll take you to the blog post, and you'll be able to see the series of videos. And I think that's going to help you, because being prepared for this situation is going to help you with some heartaches that could occur if a deer, especially a nice buck, a lifetime buck, ever ducks your arrow. You know, it'd be a heartbreak. And being prepared for that mentally, and knowing what to do, depending on, you know, what your bow's actually doing, what you can and can't avoid. And like we've already seen, you basically, because of the sound of the arrow, you could have a completely silent bow, and because of the sound of the arrow, you're going to have some noise coming out of that. Another thing, before I almost forgot, another thing you can do with your bow is have a well-tuned bow. A bow that's not tuned very well is going to kick that arrow more like this as it comes out, and the more that arrow is kicking, the more wind that the inflection is going to catch, and the louder it's going to be. And another thing I would imagine, I can't prove this, but I would imagine the shorter vanes is probably going to cause a little less noise than the really long vanes, because they're going to catch less wind and air as they come out. I imagine they're going to make a little less noise. I think the noise, even from the short vanes, is enough that the deer's going to hear it. They're going to react to it if they're alert. So I don't think that, you know, being the long vanes and short vanes is going to matter that much. If you like the long vanes, I've heard the long vanes really, you get a little bit better accuracy. I think the main thing is being prepared of what attitude the deer has at that moment and how alert that deer is, because, you know, like you read in the blog post, they have supersonic agility because they've been conditioned. They have nerves to just boom, and they have, you know, they naturally have fast reflexes. They're a prey animal. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video here. If you haven't already, click on the link below in the description. It'll take you to the blog post on deerhuntingschool.com where these series of videos here is. The next video, I'm going to talk about how the attitude the deer is in at the moment, and how you can adjust just a little, and that can really help you out on you know, avoiding a deer ducking the arrow. And a lot of times when they do that, you can make a bad shot and never recover the deer, and it may die somewhere else. So watch the next video. This is Jacob Schmidt with deerhuntingschool.com. Hope you enjoyed this video here. Have a good day, and bye-bye.